everyone. Welcome to.
It's instinctual.
Just keep this in. Just keep this in.
Welcome to Film Talk, a podcast where two gals talk film, television, and everything in between the reels. I'm your host, Ileana Melendez, head of marketing and a critic here at FullCircleCinema.com, and I'm joined today by these bozos. We're gonna have. Yeah, you know where we're gonna keep it. It's fun. It's it's what is it? It's
not
is this
politically
what the Gen Z
correct,
want?
Ilana.
There you go. Okay, so
I'm gonna
we
fucking
have
cancel
a
you
little
on
round table here with some fellow critics who also attended the Festival de Cannes 2021 this summer, and we had a lovely time watching some films, and we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them and share what we love, share what we didn't love so much, and we're gonna keep the ball rolling. First off, so that you actually know what's going on. How about everybody introduce themselves? I'm gonna start with Josie because y'all already know her and she always goes after me. So Josie, David, and then Cole, because that's the order I have here, counterclockwise. Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? Wow, so many English essays in high school.
She said,
don't look at me like that.
She saw the Green Knight and knew what it was about.
Hi, I'm Josie at the Josie Marie on Twitter and Letterboxd. I am the founder of Film Posers, and I am also Adriana's fabulous co-host. Haha. And we went to Cannes together.
We went to, and they were Cannes mates.
And they were Cannes mates. Take it away, David.
Yes.
Hello. My name is David CUEVAS. I'm a festivals editor for Film Hounds magazine, a UK-based print and web publication. I attended this year's Cannes Film Festival as a Zoomer, a teenager, a baby boy, watching films and being emotionally scarred by these people right here. And I can't wait to talk about these movies and the general experience.
Hell yeah.
One of the youngest to attend.
Honestly, Cannes. a whole 18-year-old accredited press. So many people could never.
It's on the Wikipedia page, actually. It's like youngest
honestly
members of the press.
And it's just
David.
A picture of a sad boy in Cannes at
it's
the
a
McDonald's.
few pictures. There's like a lot of pictures of David on the Wikipedia page.
Of course. Right.
I am Cole, otherwise known as the Oscar expert on YouTube. And I was at Cannes to watch all the movies and was there because of the YouTube channel, so...
He's here to get us the views, y'all. So, all right. So yeah, we're gonna kind of rapid fire this real quick, and then just kind of dive into the chaos because I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Eventually, inevitably.
Don't fight it.
Don't fight it. Let it happen. That's Film Talk. Welcome. So you guys heard our episode, or I would hope that the audience has heard last week's episode where we just kind of Josie and I went into our favorites at the festival. We're just gonna go mention them briefly, but we're gonna have our guests start off with their top 3 from the festival and just kind of briefly explain your top 3, why you liked them, and if you recommend them, if they're being distributed or something, like to the audience, like, hey, this is coming out on this day, you should go watch it. And we'll start with, we're going to go clockwise now. We'll go to Cole.
Do I give all 3 of my top 3s right now?
Yeah, just give us your top 3 and then explain briefly why they're your top 3 and see if you recommend them.
All right. So my top 3 is, number 1 was The Worst Person in the World. It's the new Joachim Trier movie. And this one is, I think, one of the ones I'd recommend the highest and to the most people that I've seen at the festival, because it's like, it was the one that stirred my soul, I thought, more than any other. I think a lot of people will be able to like relate to the protagonist's journey in this one. She's got, a resistance to like commitment, and she's juggling a couple different relationships in this movie, and I just thought the writing was excellent. It was very balanced, and there's a lot of, the characters are very lovable in their flaws. lots of amazing sequences, and I can't recommend the movie enough. I can't wait to see it again. Uh, the next movie, number 2, is Titan. I think David remembers my reaction after the movie. We were just like staring at each other, and I was just like, shit. And I loved it. I was like,
Right.
I like feeling this way about the movie. I like being like, oh my fuck. Like what did I watch?
Right.
And kind of going over it, there was a lot about it that you know, it wasn't just like a nonsense movie. It felt like everything was motivated from the characters. There was like a strong emotional core in it, and it's also, you know, a wild ride. I was very happy that it won the Palm because it was one of my favorites of the festival, and it's definitely one I recommend to anybody who likes a what the fuck movie a little bit. If you want to try something different, or if you're not too squeamish, even if you are squeamish, just like go and squeam, like just do it. Also, 2 really, really good lead performances in that movie. So that's my number 2. And the number 3, you know, I think that the top 2 is very solid for me, and then the 3 is like a little wiggly. I ended up choosing Cow as my number 3, which was the Andrea Arnold documentary that just follows the life of a dairy cow and its offspring, I guess. And it's really strictly adheres to like following these cows, you know, putting the camera right at their eye line and just going about I don't know how long it was, but like it might have been over the course of like a full year or something.
Oh, wow.
And you just watch their shit life in a factory farm, which is probably not even like the worst kind of factory farm that a cow could be in, but you know, it is something that makes you think about, I guess, the innate rights that like an animal doesn't have under the systems that allow us to do that to cows, and also just makes you think about like what way we can try to be more in touch with animals, and like, you know, have we lost that on this earth? There's a lot of things that it makes you think about. I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody because I think some people will just not find very much to take away from it because it's very slow, and it's like, you know, it's just very art house, like experimental movie. So if you want to go and consider cows, then you should see the movie.
That's a solid top 3 with a wild card. All right, David, how about you?
So, Cole already mentioned 2 films that I actually really, really, really liked. Titan and The Worst Person in the World. And pretty much everything that he said about those 2 films were pretty much like my reaction. So let's try something a little bit more obscure for these top 3 films. I'm going to start off with Petrov's Flu, a film that I personally think was snubbed for Best Director. It should have went to Mr. Kirill Serebrennikov. Not sure if I pronounced his name right, but I thought Petrov's Flu was genuinely one of the most underrated films of the festival. It works perfectly as both a COVID allegory for a film that was produced, written, and I believe filmed before the pandemic even happened, but it's also this very subtle critique on sort of the Commonwealth in Russia and how sort of like nothing ever really changes after decades upon decades. And it uses this sort of framing device of this New Year's Eve party and reunion, sort of like to depict this intergenerational malaise, sort of like this fever dream that everybody is stuck in this same place, and has this incredible final scene, the end credit scene, quote unquote, involving a coffin. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but when you see the film, that final scene really hits because there's so much setup to that final shot that personally I was actually quite emotionally moved by a film that is frequently gratuitously violent, and not really for the faint of heart. Genuinely, it's kind of wholesome, with child murder included. So I guess there you have it. Second pick, I'm going to go with Ryusuke Hamaguchi's Drive My Car. He has 2 films this year. The first one is Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, one of the best films of the year, premiered at Berlin. Silver Bear, great movie. Drive My Car, he doesn't miss. He's one of the greatest filmmakers working today. And this is based on a Murakami short story. And it's a pretty simple reflection on coping mechanisms. The main character is a theater director, so he uses theater techniques, theater sort of, how to put it, cues, I guess, as a form of psychological revenge against people that have quote unquote wronged him. Not going to spoil anything about the story because I do think this film is best to go in blind. There's another character who uses driving as sort of a grief reflection coping mechanism, and another person who I think Cole, you've seen this movie, right? So in the film, there's another character, not going to reveal who it is or anything, but he uses drinking as means to kind of overshadow his toxic masculinity, but that kind of backfires later on in the film. So I thought it was a very reflexive and genuinely poignant film overall. And yeah, I thought it was quite strong. And for the final film, I want to give a shout out to Ahedzni. I've been talking about this film for quite some time now, but I think Ahedzni is easily the biggest surprise of the festival, in my opinion, because I actually hated Nadiv Lapid's previous film, Synonyms. I thought it was a very flat social commentary and satire. I thought it didn't really work too well as sort of like this indictment of sort of culture clash. But with Ahedzni, it's very interesting because it's arguably more obnoxious than Synonyms. It's arguably more self-reflexive than Synonyms. But at the same time, that's kind of the appeal. It is an angry whirlwind of emotions from this one guy who is pissed off at his country, pissed off at himself, and he's basically criticizing everything wrong with his own career and the country that is continuously supporting him, even though they're pretty much committing mass genocide. So, overall, fantastic movie. Just generally like a very angry social commentary. And I left the theater kind of emotionally, how to put it, staggered, or just genuinely, it felt like a jolt. It felt like a lightning bolt at 11 a.m. in the morning. And that was on the final day of the festival. So that's quite the way to end the Festival de Cannes for me with Ahedzni.
All right, Miss Josie.
Hello. So I've been talking about this one for a while, and I'm gonna start from number 3 to number 1. So Mothering Sunday is my number 3, which I've been changing so much, but let's stick to it. Masterclass in sensual cinema, so as not to say the other word, because Cannes this year was very spicy. And yeah, we all know the description on Letterboxd is very, very long, so I'll just say that it is a wonderful exploration of romance and love, and especially like the human body, and also just such a wonderful look at different aspects of this woman's life, and also going into non-linear storytelling, and it just feels like a wild ride. It honestly also feels that we've talked about this before, Ilana and I, it feels like a novel, which is so fitting considering the profession the main character decides to take upon her life. And just Eva Hewson, just wonderful. I loved the camera work. I loved the concentration in different points, and it just felt so much like a play as well as a lot of paintings, but it also felt like an exploration of mythology and just different forms of storytelling all put together in this wonderful melting pot of just femininity, and just a wonderful cast as well, which I wish they had been there because some of them just couldn't make it, and I was like, no, I want to be in your presence, but they weren't there. But we did get Josh O'Connor, which was a little awkward considering what happens, but always fun. And yeah, just I really like it. It is a bit slow, but I love how it is expertly taken as a slow burn if you are into a slow burn. If you want more dynamic, it might seem very lacking to the regular viewer. But again, if you're a fan of sensual cinema, this film is for you. And then my second favorite is freaking Lamb. We love Lamb in this house. And just it makes so much sense that A24 picked this one up because it definitely fits in with their catalog. And especially it just goes so perfectly with their cinematography. And a lot of people are trying to call this horror, and I think it could fall into there, but don't go expecting something, for example, like Hereditary, or just something flat out like, you know, some people look at horror a specific way. This is more suspense, and it's a thriller, and it does play with the horror tropes, but don't go into it thinking it's going to be specifically like this certain specific form of horror that is so used to spectacle and that a general audience is drawn to. This is more like auteur horror.
Don't go expecting to be scared, basically.
Yeah, because you are sitting on the edge of your seat like, what's going on? But also there's comedy mixed in there, which was very surprising because a lot of us went into this film blind. So it was very wonderful to see something that surprisingly was comedic, but it also had a lot of heart. And it also had a lot of violence that wasn't as in your face as a lot of people expect usually, like with R-rated films. Not to throw shade. But the violence was very well utilized. It melded with the story specifically, and also it was just a wonderful exploration of motherhood. So if you are looking for Titan, it's just it's a very interesting way to see how women are being portrayed in horror, and this is definitely one of those pieces that you should look into. And then my number one, which is Everything Went Fine, or Tout s'est bien passé. And this was the only film that evoked any sort of emotion out of me in this festival. Ileana had to check if I was okay because I kept crying every 5 minutes.
Her mask was moist. It was just moist.
It came to the point where I started using my mask as a tissue because it was there, so why not? And it's just very interesting to see the story because, of course, assisted suicide is illegal in France, so they had to look forward to other means, and it's just this dynamic from a father asking for help because he doesn't see meaning in his life anymore because he is not the man that he used to be because of suffering a heart attack, and this entire conflict within the main character of clearly having had a poor relationship with her father and wondering whether she's actually helping him or if she's murdering him. And that conflict was so interesting to see. I love how they played it out. It did feel a little long at times, but generally such great acting. I was like fully in the entire time, and just the directing was also so enchanting or mesmerizing. And again, I was just sobbing the entire time because it's such an emotional story. So if you're looking for something that will move you, definitely I recommend this one.
I honestly, Tout s'est bien passé was really close to being my top 3, but yeah.
Sobbing.
It's great. I feel like we didn't talk about it enough last episode, but yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah,
My top 3.
I will say very quickly,
Of course.
if you have lost a family member, Tout s'est bien passé can be a little bit triggering.
Yes, definitely hits hard. Yeah, my top 3, I'm gonna start. I'll do the 3, 2, 1. A little suspense here. My number 3 is actually Titan, because it used to be After Yang, but after, like, I feel like Titan has simmered with me. It's marinated. David perked up here. David's ears just perked up in this moment. Titan has really, like, grown on me, especially after seeing such lesser films afterwards. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, so yeah, I really, really just kind of peaked, like, violence and gore peaked with Titan. Like, this is camp, basically. This is what camp should be. Should be by a woman doing some of the best, like, nobody talks about this enough. Some of the best fight scenes is in Titan. Titan really floored me because it gave me what Tarantino gives to a lot of film bros. And I'm not going to go further into that because I feel like I'm just going to keep offending people. But Julia Ducournau really just kind of took us on a wild ride. It is definitely, like Cole said, a what the fuck movie. But it is not a what the fuck movie without reason. There is substance. There's heavy symbolism. So bear with it. But if you like to go into the theater and leave like a changed person, then yeah, Titan's your movie. And I think that I kept thinking about it. It's been sitting with me for a month now, and it's my top 3. It's my number 3 though because I am just like very soft for my next top 2. My number 2 is actually The French Dispatch, just because, you know, I am basic. And I really, really, after sitting with the French Dispatch, I really liked what it was trying to do. I talked about it a lot last episode, but it sat really well with me because it was really pretty chaos. It was a mess. It was chaotic, but it was nice to look at for the most part. And I think what really sealed the deal for me was Benicio del Toro's performance along with Lea Seydoux. So if it were not for that first story with the artist, then it would not have even been in my top three. Genuinely. That's genuinely what kept me there. And yeah, just what I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. I enjoy his style, and I really like that he pushed himself out of his comfort zone here. Even if it wasn't as perfectly executed as it could have been. But with recent news for his next film starring now like Tom Hanks and Margot Robbie, like he's branching out with new actors that he's going to be working with. Mark my words, The French Dispatch is going to be a turning point in his career and with his style with his film. So I think The French Dispatch is for the better. It's messy for the better. So I'm glad he was able to experiment here. It was kind of like a Mythbusters like testing ground. That's what The French Dispatch was for me, and that's why I like it. So number one actually is also Lamb. Lamb hit the notes. Lamb hit for me, and I'm gonna tell you why. It is that right balance of what the fuck mixed in with just beautiful storytelling and incredible cinema and good symbolism. It had like a message, it had beautiful cinematography, it had suspense, it had a little bit of horror in it. Like it had so many different elements that just almost impossibly worked and fit so well together that yes, it's not a super complicated movie, nor is it even that long. It's probably like a 90-minute flick, which is like Josie's like top tier kind of film. But yeah, they kept it really tight, and I really it just sat so well with me. And it's one of the few films from the festival, and I'm the type of person that I'll watch a movie once and I'm good for like the next 15 years. I kid you not. I'm not a fan of rewatching films unless it's like a comfort film for me. And even then, like I haven't seen Birds of Prey in like a year and I'm still good. So some of the few listen, don't shake your head at me. So some of the few films that I would rewatch from the festival are those top three. Like I would watch like Titane once more, maybe in like a year or two, just to see like how it's settled and how it's aged. I would watch The French Dispatch again when it comes out because I want to also like share it with my friends. That's something I would also recommend for people who like want to explore the world of cinema but don't want to like they're still not there yet to watch a slow burn without falling asleep. You know the general audience. Not to be pretentious, but if you want something that's chaotic, then I'm going to be like, "Yo, watch The French Dispatch. Whether you like it or not, you're not going to be bored." And I would definitely watch Lamb again. I think it's perfect for the season. It's coming out in October, and it's definitely gonna be that cool spooky night vibes for the season. So those are my top three basically. And yeah, this has been a very good and interesting discussion of our top threes because I feel like this has been kind of dynamic and changing over the course of like the month that has passed since the festival. So I would like to discuss briefly Annette because it is like the one that's coming out the soonest and that the one that people are going to be able to see the soonest from the festival. And I just want a trauma bond, just low key with this movie. That's what I want to do with Annette. And I'm like, have you seen Annette? Okay, thank God. Let's talk about it. So, if y'all don't know by now, Annette is a new film starring Marion Cotillard and Adam Driver, directed by Leo Carax, and it is going to be releasing on the 20th of August, so literally next Friday. It's releasing next Friday, so definitely check it out if you want to see something from the festival, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime. Whether you like it or not is your problem. So yeah, who would like to start first on what they thought of Annette?
I vote David.
David saw it the most recently. You saw it, what, last Friday?
Last Friday, yeah, exactly.
So it's still fresh. It's
still
hot off the press.
It's marinating. It's
marinating?
Yes.
Simmering.
Marinating like the announcer in the Super Bowl saying, "Baby Annette." That is stuck in my head for like the longest time.
That soundbite.
Exactly.
That soundbite is just on loop in your head. Yeah.
It lives rent-free.
It lives rent-free.
I'm
still losing sleep over it too. Go on.
So I think before we get into that, like general, who liked it and who didn't?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it.
I'm still trying to decide whether I liked it or not. And it's been a month.
Wait.
Like, I liked it for what it was, and I didn't like it for what it also, like, tried to do. But, you know, like, I'll watch it. That's also one I would watch again just to see if I actually did like it.
That one needs a rewatch just to understand what the heck is going on here.
What is going on this day? So, yeah, I think the general consensus is, yeah, we liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. It's a movie. It's a movie. Go off, David.
Oh, okay. So Annette, interesting film, opening night film, really crazy. The Cannes Film Festival's on crack. But Annette, well, so I did like a couple things. I really like the visual palette. It is simultaneously dull and chaotic at the same time. It looks like a sitcom, almost like an episode of The Big Bang Theory in moments. And then it features like, are you okay?
I hate that you're right. I hate that you're correct. That is the correct take, and I hate that it's true. Go on.
And then there's like these big gargantuan set pieces set like in a courthouse or a literal like comedy stage in Los Angeles, and like they're beautiful and it's gigantic and it's colorful. And then we move to Henry McHenry's house and it looks like a bag of potato. But that's kind of like
Okay, but I love that pool.
That pool has layers to it.
That pool has layers to it, including Simon Alberg's, but that's not the point.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. It's probably like put in post like spoilers. But
spoilers. Yeah. I'm gonna censor it. It's just gonna be beep.
Beep. Exactly. This is a spoiler brought to you by David Cuevas from Film Hounds Magazine. But yeah, okay. I did want to talk a little bit about the sound mixing. Listen, Leos Carax, I get it. You tried to use the roughest takes, the most pure musical accompaniments to add into a film where each of the characters are artificial stereotypes and archetypes. Kind of smart, right? Mixing the rough with the impure, quote unquote. The issue is that it sounds like shit.
You're not wrong.
It sounds like shit. Listen, you're going for the over theatrical, the almost like self-parody, self-reflexive, the anti-musical. I get it. It works in moments, but my God, when I listen to the official Sparks master, the final mix that they did for the special Cannes edition album, the songs bop. The songs rule. It's not an issue about the songs or Sparks. They put their heart and dedication into it. The songs are actually fantastic. They don't work in the context of Carax's direction. The issue is more specifically about how Carax stages the scenes, blocks the scenes. I previously mentioned in our group chat that the editing was kind of like the make or break of the film. There's a lot of unconventional crossfades and dissolves, which I thought were very cool, added like kind of to the, I guess, the surrealist vibe of it. But at the same time, it is very long and sometimes for no good reason. It makes its point and it keeps on going and going and going. Let me tell you though, the Super Bowl scene, that's amazing. Baby Annette, quote unquote. But, and I do got to say, the final scene is incredible. Adam Driver's delivery, the way that he lost so much weight just to deliver that one scene in the movie, and just kind of like the emotional payoff. The child actor that they got, incredible. That kid can sing. So genuinely, it has its pros, it has its cons. It's a very well-intentioned film. The satire works. I previously mentioned that it's a Bo Burnham biopic, and I'm not gonna like retract from that. It's very
Same.
similar to like his like Henry McHenry is like very much is somebody that you can kind of see in a lot of comedians in Hollywood. In fact, like if you look in the credits, Adam Driver thanked Bill Burr.
Look at that.
To the film. Yeah. So
Oh,
I
no.
guess it's very messy. Very messy.
Doesn't it make sense?
No, Ileana knows my history with Bill Burr.
Your history.
Your history. What's your history, Josie?
A bunch of his fans attacked me once on Twitter.
Well,
I had to go on private for 2 days.
Well, Henry
Yeah.
McHenry is an incel.
The Burr Hive.
The Burr Hive
went
attacked
after
me.
it.
Very on brand for Henry McHenry fan space. So,
Yeah, honestly.
oh,
And it
one
was
last-
a genuine criticism, but yeah, go up.
Henry McHenry, fucking awesome name. I
Yes. Whoever
That is
came up with
perfect.
that, should
Like,
be called
smart,
Henry
good work.
McHenry.
Henry McHenry. Like, it is like both an insult name and the coolest name of all time. I love it. 10 out of 10.
It's like then if a name were a leather jacket, but the leather jacket is like backless.
It's like the leather jacket from Deerskin, the Quentin Dupieux film. It's exactly like that. That's
Oh my
Henry
God.
McHenry in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But yeah, good film overall. Great songs. Carax's direction, kind of should have went to Petrov's Flu. There we go.
Yeah. Oh right. Carax won Best Director. Ew.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Ew.
Like he tried.
like-
A for effort.
A for effort, but like at that level, A for effort is not award winning. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. You were mentioning the final scene when they're at when he's talking with the child actor. And I remember just turning to Ileana and saying, like, if he gets nominated, this is going to be the scene they use.
This
It's
is
gonna be a
this
clip.
is the real. This is gonna be for the montage that they use when they announce the category. They're gonna use that scene for
And Adam
sure.
Driver's, like performance is fantastic.
Yeah.
I am like going to do his Oscar campaign. Like
Okay.
Adam Driver carried that film.
And Simon Helberg. I think both deserve.
Simon Helberg
loved Simon
really
Helberg.
surprised me. I think
Like
it
both.
needed more Simon Helberg.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I love his role as the accompanist. I love how Cannes Film Festival this year can be also proclaimed as the Cannes Cuck Festival. So here we are. That's how it is.
Here
That's
we
Cannes
are.
this year. Drive my car in What am I saying? Drive my car in Annette.
Titane's
of-
impact. Look at that.
Titane's
Subconsciously.
impact. He just, like, fumbling it. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Cole, what did you think? You were there opening night as well, right?
Yeah, it was nuts because I had no one's expectation. No one's opinion could influence my expectations. So, hoping for the best and not knowing what to expect at all. I mean, when you give me a movie that's like nuts, I'll eat up the style. Like I'll absorb it and I'll accept it because like I enjoy when movies are taking like risks, and if the tone is like clashing or like feeling weird to me, I'll be like, cool, that's like fine. Like it's something different, and I don't know how to like comprehend it fully. So I have a lot of like respect for the movie. I admired the whole thing and I enjoyed it because I just liked watching something so weird and different. And Adam Driver is, we can get him that Oscar buzz,
Yeah.
us four can do that work as long as he's,
We're doing the
It's probably-
legwork for Adam Driver. If Adam Driver
Yeah.
doesn't win,
yeah, it's not going to
he
happen.
at least
but
gets the nomination. At the
he
very
would
least.
get it for like, he would get it for the other two movies that are coming out
Yeah.
probably.
I ran
But-
his campaign for Black Klansman, so I'm just going to dust off everything and be like,
Oh,
oh.
so you made it work though.
Yeah, I
But-
Yeah,
tried.
because he got the nom for Black Klansman at the very
Yeah,
least for
Yeah.
supporting.
I feel like this is going to be his best performance this year. And Simon Helberg's also really good. Marion Cotillard, I don't know. I feel like she was good, but she didn't like do anything above and beyond that I would
She
expect.
was
I don't know.
underutilized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
They
think
didn't
so.
give her enough to go off of, for sure.
I agree. Like I think that what her character does after halfway in the movie, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like they set her up in the first half to be like that.
Not at
if
all.
I'm describing what
It
you're
came
talking
out
about.
of left field, honestly.
Yeah. I loved the cinematography. Like the set pieces were really amazing. I loved how surreal they were, and the music was just fantastic. I was loving it. Sparks's like arrangements were pretty incredible. Lots of yummy chord progressions and all that fun stuff in there. But you know, I do question like if the movie gave me like the narrative that I wanted out of it. Like it ended up being sort of this toxic masculine commentary, or also just like a commentary on like human beings like failing to love. And I don't know if it delivered on like an emotional level the way that a movie with that's trying to tackle those ideas like, you know, should. And I was kind of more just wowed by like the bonkersness rather than like taken with like the ideas that the movie was going for. Except maybe, you know, the last scene actually did make me care about the emotional core of the movie, but I'm not sure. But, you know, maybe it was a little bit too late then. But I did like the movie quite a bit. I might watch it again just to see if like my opinion could change, because I think this is the kind of movie where like, yeah, your opinion could wobble a little from viewing to viewing. So, yeah. I mean, I recommend for anyone who just likes, you know, something daring stylistically, or if you just have to see it for Adam Driver, then you have no choice.
Yeah. And if you're an Adam Driver stan or like an Adam Driver simp, yeah, you have no choice. You have to see this movie. I'm sorry. This is
there's a lot
this was
for you to
made
clip.
for the simps.
You can make a fan cam out of this movie alone for him if you want.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
That's it. I feel like I just want to know, do y'all think that the opening scene / song is going to be a TikTok trend?
Oh, I hope not.
How are they going to find it?
It's a fantastic.
When it comes out, the song's out.
I don't know if is the movie like well known enough though that they'd catch on. I don't know film TikTok. I don't know them.
I don't know, but I feel like So Can We Start, like that soundbite from that song could easily be a TikTok trend, and I'm calling it.
It could be. We just have to figure out what they need to start.
Yeah, I'll start the trend.
And then the trend can commence.
Don't give the TikTok queens a platform.
Do we turn Annette into a TikTok movie?
No.
That's where it needs to live,
on behalf of a teenager, please don't.
You're hurting David.
No, this is cursed. This will be hell for.
Can we turn Holy Motors into a TikTok movie?
Sure, we could do that. We could turn Tokyo, the Leo Carax segment from that movie, into a TikTok trend. We're just like a random Frenchman causing havoc in Japan. We'll turn that into a TikTok trend. How about
that? So Godzilla, but with a beret.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to say something about Cole. What's interesting that you mentioned the musical arrangements is that while I was watching the film, I think they reused some of their instrumental tracks from their previous work. Because there was a song from their album Propaganda. Listen, I'm not too big of a Sparks fan. I do really like their music. But after I watched the Sparks Brothers documentary, the Edgar Wright film, very good movie, I kind of like looking into their work. But while I was watching Annette, there was one song specifically where they used the same instrumental track. So I'm really curious if they did that for other moments in the film specifically. If that the majority of the instrumental track is already pre-existing Sparks songs to begin with. So we'll find out.
Imagine
Amazon
Annette recycled. Annette musical recycled.
They also have made so much music. Like, haven't they made like 20 albums? So I mean, it's almost like, you know, what else?
I'm surprised I actually caught that tidbit. I'm like genuinely like, oh shit, my ears recognize this beat.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe they've just like it's not an actual soundbite taken from their older work. They're just like so like tuned in. Like it's a routine. They're like when they're making new stuff, it just all kind of sounds the same at some point.
It's like when we were talking about Lin-Manuel Miranda with Vivo. That it's very
Vivo's literally Hamilton.
The musical beats are very similar to what he's done with In the Heights. So there comes a point, and also like lyrics. So I'm guessing there comes a point when an artist to that caliber realizes that something works, they just stick to it.
Yeah,
Right.
fun fact, the Social Network score, there are a couple tracks on that are pulled from like they're almost just directly from Nine Inch Nails albums.
Of course.
So
That tracks.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. So, Josie, so how are you marinating with Annette?
Eh.
That seems to track.
So
yeah.
I remember I kept saying when we watched it, like, I like the film, but it's kind of lost on me because there is just so much spectacle, and there are some good things to take from the film. But again, I'm still trying to figure out what was the point of it. Like, what are you trying to do with this film? What is the central message, if there is any? And I feel like there was something there, but they lost their way to it. The map was broken. And they were like, let's just play it by ear. And they just walked in the forest and stayed there.
Let's play it by ear, David.
Why you did there?
Let's play it by ear. Don't tell that to the sound design, guys.
No, because essentially one of my main commentaries against the film is that you are talking about certain moments that reflect on violence against women, but then you're telling the story through this very violent white cis male. And yeah, I'm not gonna say the rest, because if you've seen the ending, then yeah, I'm still wondering what was the point of it all. If you were actually,
I found
trying
it to be like a
about this.
parody of a parody.
Yeah,
Like it tried to be so satirical that it lost itself to the satire. Like
Yeah,
I
because
like one of you guys said it was an anti-musical. Like,
Yeah.
in a sense, perhaps. Yeah. I think that's what it was trying to do, but I feel like it just kind of like went into this rabbit hole of satire and parody where it just like lost itself and it lost the
yeah,
point.
it got lost in the ego.
Yes.
That's what's kind of
For
ironic.
sure.
It's like the satire isn't even that biting to begin with.
No, it's
You would
not.
It's pretty like face value, right? Like what is being said on screen is just basically exactly what you can interpret. There's not much room for like any symbolism or any subtext in there. No, it's exactly face value what you want. One of my friends said it's simultaneously cringe and good. And you know what? Sure, I
That's
can see
basically
it is a little bit cringe. in
Basically.
points. Yeah. But that's the appeal, right? Like, it's a film that exists. It attempts to say something, but like you said, it's very messy and doesn't really have much beyond face value. But, except for the final scene, I do think the final scene definitely hits an emotional...
It tried to save it.
It
Yeah.
tried to save it. It tried to, like, wrap up the show in a very articulate manner. So at least that was something, you know? And it actually
At the
did
very
felt
least.
like an opera, you know, the simple 3-act tragedy. It kind of worked in that regard. And I sort of like it on a structural basis, not necessarily as a whole entire cohesive piece. But the more I think about it, the more I kind of appreciate it for what it is. And maybe even, dare I say it, like it overall. So I think it's good. I think it's good. Messy, but good. I always like
I think
a good...
it's gonna be a case study for like film students.
Oh, I
like,
hope
as soon
the
as
film bros don't like catch on to this.
Oh, they
I hope they don't
are.
like become Henry
Oh, they're gonna
They
eat it
will.
up.
McCray. Eat
They're
that.
gonna have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
This is my
Just
black
watch. This is this is this year's Joker, like for film Twitter. I feel Annette.
Yeah, I really
is
felt
this year's
seen by
Joker.
this
Better than Joker.
movie in a way that, you know, I feel like no other film has really represented me this way.
Oh my
You
God,
just
really
playing
neat.
the "Why Did I Become a Comedian" just on loop in your room.
Just making Holocaust jokes, and then like all the other like film bros are like, "Oh my God, he just like me," and they're just like all the time in Hollywood, yeah, just like pointing at this.
I'm seen. I'm represented. Oh my God, the diversity.
This is me.
Anyways. Yeah, I think the discourse around this film is definitely going to be super divided, though. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people hating it and a lot of people saying, like, you missed the point. It's perfect or something.
I mean, people keep asking me because I know a lot of people have seen the trailer and they're super interested because the trailer is good. And then people ask me, like, oh, but is it good? Like, what's it about? And I'm like, I saw it and I still don't know.
What's it about? I don't know what to tell you, man.
Sorry to this man.
Sorry
That's the
to this
weird
man.
thing. It's
I
like,
do actually. Oh yeah, go on,
oh,
Paul.
uh,
Sorry.
Mhm.
it's like it makes like the movie makes sense. Like you can follow the plot, like you know what
Mhm.
happens. It's just kind of a long winding road to get there, but it leaves you coming out like the same way that a movie would, where you didn't know what happened. Like it's not actually that baffling of what the movie's about, or like what the plot is, or even like what it, like some of the ideas that it's going for. It's just like it's baffling in like, you know, how it was done and like why it was done in that way to tell that story, I think.
For sure. Like it's just so like Carax, I feel, wanted to do so much and cover so much that he just kind of ran out of time to actually dive just a little bit deeper into some of the themes, because first of all, the twist of the movie comes in super late, so like it changes the dynamic for me, like really, like it comes out of left field. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what the movie's gonna be. Okay,
Yeah,
I
it took like an hour
guess.
to figure out what the movie was.
Right. It took us an hour to get there. And, you know, like you said, it's very much a long, winding road to just kind of get to a relatively simple point that if I feel like if you've shaved off like maybe 20 minutes from the movie, you could have done the same thing. You would have accomplished the same thing. And that's that on that. So Annette, we do, yeah, that's Annette, we do recommend, but be forewarned, it's insane. I'm gonna put it on a letterboxd list of like movies to watch when unsober.
I do gotta say, I think the album might be better than the movie itself. I kind of
It would
like
not be the first movie to do that.
listening like the songs independently. Just incredible. The mix that they do, like Sparks is like going like full on with like different techniques, different forms of reverb, and sort of I guess how to put it, they do something very interesting with the final song in the album, which didn't really appear in the movie. It was sort of like this warping sound effect that really like added to like the intensity of like the child and Adam Driver like dueling each other basically in this somewhat song competition, I guess, when it's really just like, let me be loved. No, rejection, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But it works so well in terms of a compositional kind of dynamic that like genuinely I feel like Carax really did miss the mark in some regards in terms of like the official sound mix in the film rather than his visual directing. I think his visual palette is quite strong, but it's just the sound, which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah. I think we thought of Bo Burnham as soon as we saw this, and I think Bo Burnham would have been the director for this movie. High key. Especially after seeing 8th Grade. Like, he's a good filmmaker.
That tweet that it's basically if Eraserhead were a musical directed by Bo Burnham.
Essentially. Maybe. That's essentially a little bit. But yeah, Bo Burnham did it better. You may quote me on that, and I will mute you.
In summary, we had a fun time at Cannes, and we're probably going again next year.
Hell yeah!
There's gonna be a lot of good films next year, I think.
I wonder if Clifford's coming to Cannes.
At a competition, Cinema de Plage.
That's why they pushed it. They got a better offer.
Probably.
Maybe.
Mayhaps. But yeah, this has been our Can Chat. Here's the Can Chat logo here. Where can they find y'all? Let's start with Cole. Where can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. This is on YouTube, right?
Yes.
So
or on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe. What's up?
You're already so close. You're already you're almost there. You can look up The Oscar Expert on YouTube, and that will be your gateway to finding more content from me.
There you go.
Or on Twitter if you want. We
will link everything down below. And you, Mr. Cuevas?
Yes, that is me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TICKTOCKANIMATE. I'm currently writing and producing work for Film Hounds magazine. Our latest issue, issue number 5, if I'm not mistaken, will be releasing on August 16th for only €5. Now with a 20% off discount, mind you. You can get the latest issue with my personal picks for the best of Cannes, including The Worst Person in the World, The French Dispatch, Titan, Petrov's Flu, Red Rocket, After Yang, Drive My Car, The Innocents, Memoria, The Souvenir Part 2, and more capsule reviews in that issue. And don't forget, Gatekeep, Gaslight, Girl Boss.
Don't forget, continues to forget.
Stop! Leave me alone.
You did great, sweetie. You did great.
Thank you.
Get the coin. And where can they find you, Miss Josie?
You can find me at the Josie Marie on Twitter and Letterboxd, and you can find Film Posers basically everywhere.
Hell yeah, and you can find me at Captain Melendez on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram, and everywhere else. And if you can't find me, stop looking. So, yeah. What else do we have coming up? We have TIFF. We're all going to be attending TIFF at the very least. Some of us virtually. Mr. Cuevas here. David is going in person, I believe. Are you going to be there?
And Cole,
Also
you're going in person?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Josie and I are attending virtually. They're going to be there, so don't stalk them.
Josie, wait. Josie, you might be attending Dune, right?
me?
Yeah.
And Dune is persuading me.
Down horrendous. Okay, let's move on.
We'll see what happens. So yeah, TIFF is coming up, and stay tuned for more coverage on film festivals and our episodes, our reviews, everything that we do on this show. Definitely follow these lovely critics here that we've had on today. Oh my god, before I leave, I forgot to mention we had another critic that was supposed to be on today.
Yes.
Miss Alicia. She wanted to share her top 3. I'm going to put her picture here. Let me mention her top 3 from the festival are The Worst Person in the World, After Yang, and Titan. So you got it. Kind of tracks with what we're all kind of feeling here. Josie and I didn't see Worst Person in the World, but I believe
It's at TIFF.
It's at TIFF, yeah. So we're basically going to catch up on what we missed at Cannes at TIFF. So that'll be very nice. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to Full Circle Network here on YouTube, and follow at Full Circle Cine on Twitter and Instagram. And if you use Facebook, we're on there too. That works too. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be sure to also follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll see you next time. Everyone say bye.
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 Hare's 13th district is still bad.
David!
I'm keeping that in. I'm keeping that in.
This is your fault. It's no longer at TIFF. I'm out.
Yes.
Why are you in black and
Ouch.
white as a tribute to Paris 13th District?
No, tribute to
It's a tribute to the
ODR.
only black and white movie.